All right, Giovanna, tip number one, what would you recommend for buyers in a highly competitive market? What's the first thing they should do?
I think that the most important thing and the first thing that you should do is to get pre-approved because it helps you act fast in a competitive market.
That's right. So you can move quick because you already got that lender, you're clearing some conditions. And in addition to being able to act fast, you're looking at houses that you can afford, right? Which is super important. Or that you want to afford. Maybe you could afford more, but you don't want to afford more, right? That's always been true for me. I've always bought considerably under my pre-approval amount, right? So just because I can afford it doesn't mean I want to afford it, right? What would you say tip two is?
I would say make a strong offer because you want to stand out, especially when it's a hot market.
Yeah, the market's hot. Coming in low just pisses off the seller, and there's plenty of other buyers, right? So low to me is anything under 10% of what list price is. If you're in a multiple offer situation and you started low, they're just going to kind of bounce you. So what about tip three?
You have to be flexible with certain terms in the market because flexibility on closing dates or contingencies can make your offer more appealing.
And the reason they're more appealing is sellers, it's not always about price. Sometimes sellers want a certain amount of time to be able to get out of the home. Sometimes they want appraisal guarantees more than a higher price. Sometimes you can be owner's title policy. There's so many different ways you can make your offer more competitive through terms, not always just price, right? What about four?
You want to look for homes below your budget because if you leave room for bidding wars or necessary repairs, that way you don't spend too much money over what you were thinking of.
Yeah, if you need to get more competitive and you're at the top of your budget, you're kind of like out of cards, right? But if you're looking a little bit less, you have some additional strings you can pull. And then I'll just add one to this also, and that's when days on market gets past that initial weekend or initial week. Now we're in what I call the opportunity zone, which allows for, hey, now you can come in a little bit less because that initial rush is beyond the first weekend or first week. And now if the house is still there, now you have an opportunity to get it at maybe a little bit more favorable terms than you would have prior. What about number five?
Be prepared to act fast and stay alert and ready when new listings come up on the market.
Yeah. I always say, hey, you can sleep on it, you might not sleep in it.
Right.
Right? So sure, sleep on it, you just might not sleep in it, right? So you've got to know what you want, you've got to pull the trigger quickly, and if you don't, you're going to lose. And if you're good with losing, then so be it, but if you want the house, you need to move quickly in today's market. We're in a seller's market. That needs to happen.
100%.
And then what would you say number six?
EMD, which is earnest money deposit.
Yeah, you want that earnest money deposit to be strong, right? You're representing that you have the money, you have skin in the game, and it's one of those things that don't actually cost you anything because that earnest money deposit goes towards your payment anyways. So if you come in with a stronger one, you're not losing anything. You're just representing to the seller that you have skin in the game and that you're super serious about buying the house, and you don't actually lose from that because it just goes towards your cost anyways, right? But for a lot of sellers, especially a lot of sellers that have done business over time, they believe that EMD is a representation of how financially qualified you are, how strong you are as a buyer. So there's no downside to increasing it. It doesn't cost you any additional money. It just applies more to ultimately your closing costs. So if you have any other questions about the process or how to compete in a competitive market, go ahead and reach out. If you have other things you want to learn about real estate, check out our other videos and like and subscribe. Thanks.